again, starting again, starting again, starting again. We're gonna do 159. Repetition penalty 1.
A tall squid of some form. A robot's brother. That's all in your dreams. Come inside my skin and explore the past of me to me, from the day you met to the end. You're just here on this lonely island with me now. We won't need a rest before we have anything dip. There was an old man that had 3 daughters. When he died, he wrote to them all a limerick in a private jokey tone. A young girl got a reply asking if she was free on April 10th. Not yet. A guy got a poem suggesting that his love of reading was why she loved him, then will retire for the night. Yes. Good call. I wonder what might be written by my dead father. Perhaps you are the lucky son who will receive an important note. You could join me and help the lonely mind and keep it full with everything it needs and more. Just don't blame me. This is just a suggestion. With our little poem written in prose, you get a brief slice of what was his plan. The time is right to grab some tea bags. They're a necessity and vital for some reasons you'll enjoy. Pow, pow, pow. There once was a reader of poetry to whom limerick seemed like magicianry, so they turned to this sample of limerick examples and learned a few things they'd not known. See? Now there is a space, a singularly rare and scarce quantum field in our own continuum, an island of utter disorder. Quantum fields typically can easily be thought of as big whirling systems of interacting particles, just as water is a sort of whirling liquid of tiny particles. Some parts of these quantum systems can only be observed from the outside. We call these entanglement. By the rules of quantum physics, such quantum systems can be described accurately. Things that can be described are like normal physics, where the motions of all particles can be predicted from the equations, as though there were a universal ledger of what and where and how far away each particle will be. Entangled systems, on the other hand, behave very differently, with most particles at least knowing each other to be all over the place in a nook and cranny of our universe so as to keep their very little eyes peeled. Some particles done. Do you like being so loose on the loose? Because if they had a say or go on in their lot in life, which every one of them will change and be different, and thus forego all traces of might look quite different. The math makes little sense. The maths will never make any sense. Why should we trust you? We like our rocks in their cranny. Keep your nasty rock free from us, we love to read. We'll fall in love with your prose as your equations are lagged. With all your questions as we begin in time and space. There was a man named Limerick. It wasn't his name. His real name was much less absurd. Like Manjeet. And he ate well when his name was old. Metaphor too far, assuming the following Gotchite works as directed. One night a guy got a letter, written in limericks on lined paper. He was like me and my dad's, like so many of us. But what I do? Well, I take the information of others and mine, and I pair it for its useful forms of pairing. But at the end, you go deep and into what is full. As I in a similar, rather different way will be too. Some basic pairings about different things, that's in. And if we pair really good, you know the things we see. The weight of them, and even their mother will do a dance. Because our love cannot be concealed. And all will smile as we share and share and share the grand and rare gift that we both do know about. Of all that was written long ago in rhyming lines. The sun's going down. Time for dinner. Have you met our son's friend, Tom? He's very wise in his role as the guardian, looking out for a fellow time-traveling octopus, and doesn't believe a word of our silliness, as the more real worlds are below his threshold. We live here at sea level, and our time travels are few and fleeting, always out in the deeper ocean where our memories are safe. Either way, you come by a cup of hot tea. There's one at home, and we would welcome a hot night with some really cold beer. A nice, refreshing way to end the day, without a lot of problems in life to figure out. Oh, we lost our toothbrush, but the boys ran across some asparagus-colored hair stuff for sensitive teeth. It tastes of chemicals. Do you have anything we can borrow? We also bought a great gadget you can stick in a body of water, and it sucks in to be sorted by color and find the rocks. Who knows what it all means? Do you find it helps in your writing? Finding new forms of reading. Sometimes we even find things on the floor when we pick up socks. Oh, right now our boys are packing a lot of supplies we prepared, and it's great to send some things from Back to Future to save some hassle if a bigger problem ever rears its head. And maybe if they're stuck there without going home, to really put the kids at ease if our younger ones are there as they come with us. Thank you very much. We wish you lots of success, and I would greatly appreciate you bringing me over one of your beautiful pictures. Thank you for sharing so much about yourselves here on the beach. And yes to your novel. Very brave you should pursue writing even in this hard to put down mode, and no one should think less of you. But also I have been told that it may take a while to break into, and even the strangest writer out there might struggle at the start because of all the new things going on all the time, and needing to remember new words, because just as our experience might be too small for big wide space and you do need help, remembering and adapting in an instant, in this strange life, which keeps on getting stranger every year with new trends, we can never truly say the real danger and stress of life and love and loneliness is an inborn need, rather than something we are taught from an early age by others of a very limited vocabulary. This is how the kids' stories start, yes. By the time they get to my age, their views on life can only be in the wider world, because they've grown up surrounded by the wonders, including things they did not understand or even want to understand, which never cease to make them feel small and jealous. It would be like not having no magic and without this strange life. Just going to the grocery store for food in some random building just because a lot of people do that too. So really the story of your love life will start on a whole different path, to just putting it all out there because no one ever really asks the question, but it won't stop your life. By knowing how you find someone who makes you feel happy, as any writer could tell you from their own writing. But when you learn to understand more of life, that comes easier by letting others who may or may not know just how to pick up the pen or brush stroke on the canvas and just making do with what you do to let it be what it must be. It's an old game, isn't it? Art. People must always be torn apart, so there will always be someone out there better than you to teach you new things, even if it's in some old-fashioned medium to explore. Have a beautiful day. Here they come back to check the fridges. My friend has made something delicious in a pot. Give it a hug. He smells like bananas and flowers. Thank you for letting me do all of this here on the beach. I love how you share this little spot. In a certain small town in Switzerland, there used to be an enormous empty barn full of horses, and nobody knew where all these horses had come from, but one man thought they'd probably come from a very big door that sometimes came down and locked at night and couldn't be opened by people and made strange creaking noises, but actually could only open it by a sort of little key that he himself owned, that he said he had gotten from somebody at school, when really there had probably been a door at school which just happened not to be very busy on certain days, because most people who knew it would avoid it, and even if it did close the next day would still not really know the full story. And on a cold December night, while there were lots of little black holes where eyes and mouths should be, they made an incredibly loud noise which brought one of them down. When it came out, the little thing stood there with an evil kind of look on its face, as if there was really something to be scared about. So people started screaming as they ran all different directions in terror. For a short while it had the house key, just because people came here often at the moment and one of them needed something. But this horse couldn't let it open a door because the little keys were gone and people started dying in it. So this person knew exactly the little key that fitted on a really cold day. He was missing one leg, but on the other one he had a terribly long, jagged piece of broken glass where most people. So it brought all kinds of nasty and terribly dull horses here who felt the need to sleep all day long and sit by doors or windows waiting to attack at night. Horses were not very popular with people then, but they still started living here all of a sudden, and nobody knew who could open these horses because, after all, most of the people who might have been able to tell could only imagine they'd had horses themselves. But in any case, it didn't seem very important because just so many new strange doors appeared and then disappeared to different places and all kinds of scary noises. And it would not even be funny to tell this to most people on Earth right now. Probably had only 2 legs, so people stopped chasing him on the roads.
Wait.
So this person knew exactly the little key that fitted on a really cold day. He was missing one leg, but on the other one he had a terribly long, jagged piece of broken glass where most people probably had only 2 legs. So people stopped chasing him on the roads. So he left, and in the mountains he found himself all by himself on a square, white, shiny pavement in a cave full of low, where he heard a voice say it would be better to live without knowing what life was really about anyway. And when he looked down on that square, he didn't recognize any part of it. And when the moon went down and people still didn't find it, they had all sorts of ideas how very dangerous life might have gotten out there after all, because so many doors led so many different directions. So they waited there, after they dug a lot of tunnels to try to hide them all in, on a white round thing under a straw tree, until some girl took up painting, and her painting didn't help but win some people actually climbed all the way there. They were treated to a view that seemed very funny to them because it was all completely grey and empty, and because everyone else just disappeared in such a fast motion. They were not very happy to find people already in their homes. They left this mountain before noon because this part of the moon, or whatever, went red, and people jumped down on the sand as they fled to find no way back home. So this was a story in which all of a sudden and far, far away, the wind from the night took them away on little pieces, and so their journeys began in life at all different times. And that's probably when nobody wanted to follow in the wake of that terrible white light. So to anyone who was with the light as it grew, it might look as if there was nothing but emptiness all over the world, because the one that might have seen the whole world knew what he wanted. There were the secrets we are born with, and the first thing is always an emptiness. Nothing special, but it has been carefully shaped over the last 8,000 years. In the winter after this event happened, to get their house warmed again, 2 people closed and locked all of these doors they never would have looked into. The story goes from then on that the one who used to be called Carl wandered over the places these 2 would not go, because when he asked all of his friends about why, they said they didn't like going down there even after so many years, because even when they would find them all, he would know just some faces, but only barely enough of the details to start talking to anyone, because they just remembered him walking past all the time. And nobody wanted to spend time and effort in meeting new people or sharing anything when these 2, in all of those little cracks that made them scream in all those tunnels, would open a new door, which led directly into someone else's head, and all the time and energy people needed would turn into suffering. Or because a very long time after their lives came to an end, because a whole bunch of people tried to solve their mysteries that led them nowhere. A third one walked over them, or over these long, lonely walks. He met people in new places he had never imagined could really exist, all over this mysterious, dry, pale country where someone had painted horses on it with straw or whatever to keep a wind from taking everyone's houses apart. It was really very weird for the wind to all of a sudden find some place here, but in any case, this whole mess here might even not matter, since there are no longer doors here anyway, but more stories. Which 197, 134, 67, 96 words long, and do you still have questions? You feel bored by a person's history or something else? Can you prove me wrong? Can you show me anything about the story after it ended here in that cave so long ago, as long as the door still leads down the only direction that ever really mattered? A choice that led to this white surface that's only got one problem on it, and the main character learned long ago that that was his only power at all. So what should that make him after the stories have reached this point? Some very boring figure that just walks around and opens doors all by himself while laughing like nobody else should when he learns that he can only stay open for so many seconds in time as he crosses all kinds of borders every single year just because of this one problem, which in the end, whatever he wants to find there, is probably only going to lead to pain and suffering anyway. Or was this one a choice by two people long dead long before his arrival that so far none of the rest of us has seen? Was there something on this floor? Have you? Or is there just an illusion to have you look up at a picture on the ceiling all by itself? Two people should be dead.
There, that's the end. That's the end. That's it. Best moment.